welcome to my channel. Thank you for coming for a visit. Hopefully you stay and like and subscribe and join and come back and continue to grow with the channel. So I want to start off the reading by giving you a quick overview of the first snapshot of the message that I get when I pull these cards. And for whatever reason, the first thing that came to my mind is hearing voices in your head. Now, this could be taken literally or it can be taken figuratively. And I think I probably need to put like a disclaimer on all my readings if you watch it and something resonates with you, because I think oftentimes when people watch online tarot readings, they have a tendency to want to interpret the reading through the interpreter's eyes. When if I'm not doing a personal reading, you cannot interpret it through my eyes. I can tell you what I'm getting from the cards, which is my interpretation, but you have to take it as it positions itself in your life. So if you're watching a reading and I'm taking it as something that could be figurative and you're like, no, I literally hear voices in my head, maybe you suffer from schizophrenia, because people exist who suffer from schizophrenia. Who's to say that somebody who suffers from schizophrenia isn't watching an online tarot reading? So that's the first thing that came to my mind. So if you're, like, no, literally that's my life, then that is how it resonates for you. Then it's literal. If it's figurative and you literally figuratively, if it's figurative and it resonates in your life that way, then that's how you take it. So I can only tell you what the messages that I'm getting from the cards. You have to take it as it resonates for your life. So the message that I'm getting from the card is hearing voices. So again, that could be literally or figuratively, but there's something in your mind that needs to be quiet. There needs to be there is a lot of activity right now in someone's brain, in your brain. Your mental activity is heightened to the point where it is borderline unhealthy. The idea, and when I say this, when I say borderline unhealthy, again, figuratively or literally, if you are suffering from a disorder like schizophrenia, then that would be unhealthy, right? You need to seek attention for that. If it's figuratively, again, it can be unhealthy, but more in a less medical way, as far as like anxiety or just getting in the way of doing day-to-day activities. So there's something here about the mind needing to be quiet, because there's a lot of activity going on right now in your brain, and not healthy. It's not healthy. It's not productive is what I'm trying to say. It's a lot of clutter. It's a lot of thoughts going a mile a minute. It is, hearing voices in the sense of negative voices, or voices that distract you from the goal or what you need to be focused on right now. One card, I just want to pull this up because it just struck me as very funny. As you see this woman who's above all of the clutter. There's horses. Horses run really, really fast. They're we judge how fast our cars can go by horsepower, right? And so it's clutter. It's a lot of clutter. And then you have this woman who's above the clutter, and she has this light beaming, and she's in control of the horses. Like you see these little, I don't know if you can see it. I don't know if you can see it, but she is, I don't know, it's these dotted lines that are controlling the horses. Something here needs to be like focused. There's a lack of focus because of all the clutter that's going on in the brain. And then you have the Temperance in reverse, which we know is about, and then the Four of Swords, which there needs to be a calm in someone's mind, and that is what's lacking right now. So if you're watching this reading and you're like, you felt out of whack, you felt discombobulated, you felt and that discombobulation has caused you to be disorganized in life. And it's just one of those, ever had one of those days where they call Wednesdays hump day, because it's that point of the week where everything just falls apart in life and you just don't have it together. Well, your hump day is lasting longer than what's normal, and you can't figure out why you just can't get your shit together. Like, what is going on with me? Why can't I get together? And then all of these intrusive thoughts is really That's what I meant when I said hearing voices, is intrusive thoughts. Intrusive thoughts. If you need to look up what intrusive thoughts mean, go on Google and look it up. There's something here about allowing the intrusive thoughts to win out, when most times when you're in a good, healthy place in life, everybody has intrusive thoughts. We all have that, right? Some people are better at managing those intrusive thoughts than others, and some people allow those intrusive thoughts to dictate their actions. And I think you're trying hard to pull back all of these intrusive thoughts, but they're winning out because there's so many coming at one time, and it's making you discombobulated in your everyday life, and it's being very, very disruptive. So there's something here about needing to quiet the mind. And so my advice for you would be, I'm going to move on to a love reading after this, because this is very much self-care. This general reading, this portion, I guess I should have said this in the beginning of my reading. So my readings start where I do a general reading, a love reading, finance reading, unless one reading or the other goes over the normal allotted time, and then I have to cut one out. But so at the general reading here, this is definitely a self-care reading. This is about, this doesn't necessarily involve other people. This is definitely about you and what's going on in your mind, and about mental health right now. And if you see here, this Four of Swords card is, I love it because there's different imagery here, and it couldn't be more about like getting a bath, pouring your bath, buying some roses. So if you are thinking, well, maybe I shouldn't do it, no, go ahead and do it. Go to the store, get you some flowers, get you some bath salt. If that doesn't mess with your, bodily equilibrium, go in and go in on your self-care just for one day. Nobody's saying, I think sometimes when people hear the word self-care, they're like, oh, that's for rich people. That's you go to a spa and you spend hundreds of dollars, and it's not. It's really not. Or when people hear self-care, they think about people who are like really woo spiritual people who like meditate. If that is not your thing, then don't try to get into it in one day, because that is not going to work for you, because it is not something you have. That is something that's practiced, and you have to learn how to meditate. You have to learn, you have to get into that, weeks and months and learning and all of that stuff. And if you like, I don't have that type of time, I need to quiet my mind right now, just do something that relaxes your body and relaxes your mind. And that's really the beginning steps of self-care, something that relaxes your body and relaxes your mind. So if you are doing a thing, whatever it is that you decided, okay, this is the thing that I'm gonna do, whatever the weather is like, sitting by yourself, having a quiet, in a nice clean apartment, maybe just clean your apartment and you're by yourself, and you light some candles, and you have a little cup of wine or a glass of wine, nothing to get you drunk and hungover for the next day because you got to go to work, but something to just relax. Anything that relaxes your body and relaxes your mind. Or maybe you do that and you're like, oh my God, I still have these intrusive thoughts, I need something else. And maybe you decide, okay, I'm gonna go to the store, I'm about to get some flower store, get some roses and get some bath salt, and make a bath for myself and like sit in the bath. And maybe that's it. So you have to figure out what the thing is that you can do on your time that doesn't require you to go outside your house and go to a spa, or spend months learning how to meditate and become spiritual. Something immediate in your life that you can do that brings peace, that relaxes your body and relaxes your mind, to quiet these very, very, very intrusive thoughts that you're having. Because right now I feel like whoever I'm reading for, those intrusive thoughts are winning out, and it's disrupting your everyday life. Okay, so that's my advice for you. That is what I'm getting for the general reading. I'm really not going to pick any or pull any more cards for the general reading. I'm just going to move right on to the love reading, the love portion of the reading. So I'm just going on for my collective and who they're dealing with. I usually tend to only focus on who you're dealing with. I don't focus on people you're interested in that you don't really have a connection with, because those readings tend to be super quick. Like if you're interested in somebody and you're trying to figure out if they're interested in you, it's going to be yes or no. If something going to happen, it's going to be yes or no. So they're usually very quick. Wow, okay. And I don't tend to focus on the past person unless the past person is the person you're currently dealing with. So I don't have great news. Trying to spin this in a very, I am going to spin this in a very positive light, because I just noticed that the Emperor card came up in the reverse. And it's so funny because I just went on a whole tangent about the Emperor card in the reverse in my very last reading. So I'm not going to go on a tangent about the Emperor in reverse, because this is not a tarot learning lesson. I'm just going to tell you what this means for you. And if you're really interested in why this Emperor in reverse means the thing that it means, I would say go back and watch my last reading. A little bit into that reading, I get into the Emperor and the reverse and why this is a difficult card to read for. And matter of fact, I'm just going to go ahead and pull some cards on this real quick. What is the Emperor in reverse? It's a difficult card to read for in very mundane, everyday sort of life and activity. So there's a person that's, lying to you. You're not to believe this person. I really hate to tell you this, but the silver lining at the end of this reading is that the person you're dealing with is perfectly, now believe me when I say this and hear me when I say this, perfectly incapable of feeling an emotional connection with another human being. So I'm going to say that again. The person you are dealing with is perfectly incapable of feeling an emotional connection with another human being. So when this comes out in the wash, when all of this unfolds, when you realize who this person is and see them for what they are, okay, once that happens, because it will happen, whether it happens, oftentimes, we have to be beat over the head when we see something that we want. Clearly you want this person and they look like a snack, right? But the fact that they look like a whole meal, but this person is coming up as a snack, where they're making you think they're a meal, but in reality they're a snack. And they have so many insecurities. This person has so many insecurities. That the insecurities that they have are, again, we go back to the general reading and we talk about self-care. And you're talking about managing those intrusive thoughts. This person has demons. And when I say demons, I don't, this person has also intrusive thoughts, but those intrusive thoughts are very negative. And because it's a masculine energy that's in the reverse, that's a toxic masculine energy. And what I mean by that is that masculine energy, because it is hurt, it has been damaged, it feels insecure, and the natural reaction of the masculine when it is pushed, when it hasn't learned proper coping mechanism, is to become oppressive and abusive and tyrannical. And so this person has a lot of insecurities, they have a lot of hurt, and the natural feminine reaction to that oppressive masculine energy, okay, is to nurture and care for it. So if you meet this person, or I'm assuming you're dealing with this person, and you notice behaviors of this person that are not becoming of a gentleman, right? This is not becoming of a gentleman. The things that they say, the way that they say it, how rude they can be, the way that they treat me, how dismissive they can be, the fact that I haven't developed an emotional connection with this person, the fact that this person will not open up emotionally. When you notice those things, the proper response from a healed feminine energy is to send this person on their way to do their own personal healing, not to nurture this energy, because this is a divine masculine energy in the reverse that needs healing. You cannot heal this person. And I know the feminine energy feels as though they can, because that's what they're put on this planet to do, is to heal and to nurture and to care. That is the nature of the feminine energy. The problem with that feminine energy is when they run into abusive masculine energies and they haven't learned the proper coping mechanisms. So for you, what you need to do is, when you notice, and you will, You will. If this reading is resonating with you, you will. And you probably are listening to this thinking to yourself, no, I've already noticed this behavior. It's not to nurture it. It is to get away from it. Send it on its way with love, because this person needs to learn how to properly care for themselves, and you cannot do it for them because they are not a child. The only, and hear me when I say this, the only energies that the feminine, healed feminine energies can heal, healed feminine energies, so healed feminine, not the feminine energies in the reverse, not toxic feminine energies, are capable of healing are children, growth. That is what feminine energy heals, nurtures, and cares for: growth. That's why life starts in the feminine energy, develops in the feminine energy, and is birthed through the feminine energy, and is nurtured through the feminine energy. You have to understand the problem with feminine energies is that because we are so attached, because we're loving, nurturing creatures, and we get attached to things that we nurture and love. And I don't think humans have learned enough from the animal kingdom, because there is a point where you need to cut off the nurturing. That is nature. That is, you are supposed to stop the nurturing. You are supposed to nurture to a point, and then you are supposed to stop, because the growth that is meant to occur after the stopping point is up to that individual. And that can be learned for animals, because animals do that very well. They birth and care for and nurture their young to a point, and then you have to go out into the wild and you have to take care of yourself. And human feminine energies have a huge issue with the detachment of the things that we nurture. And so that leads us into trying to nurture adult energies. And you cannot do that. That's why the feminine energy is so susceptible into running into adult energies that are abusive and hurt. And our natural reaction to that is to nurture it and care for it. But what nature is telling you is that point is, you're past that point. This person has to go out in the wild on their own and figure out how to nurture and care for the things that have hurt them, so that they become solid in their spiritual being, so that they can carry on with healthy relationship. You cannot do that for them. You're going to notice that about this person, because when I tell you, I'm going to say it one more time. This person who is coming up as the person that you want is incapable of forming an emotional connection. Incapable. That means it is not you. It is not how much you nurture this person. It is not how much you open up to this person. It is not how much you show this person that you are there for them. It is not how much you allow yourself to be disrespected and dogged and run over and a doormat for this. None of that is the reason that this person is incapable of an emotional connection. What has happened to them and the way that they have been nurtured by the world is the reason. And it is 100% up to them to fix and to nurture that part of themselves in order to be a proper mate for anyone in this lifetime. That is not your responsibility. And not only is it not your responsibility, you cannot do it. It is the law of spirituality. It's called the law of spirituality, because we're not going to get into the law of physics and law. Because one thing that drives me crazy, and I'll say this, and I'm not going to go on a tangent about it, is when people try to tie spirituality 5D with 3D. That does not exist. It doesn't exist. Okay. So when people start talking about quantum physics and the law of attraction, these laws don't exist on the 3D. I am so sorry. Hate to be the bearer of bad news, but there are clear physical boundaries between spirituality and the 3D. If there weren't, we would be living on the 5D. There's a reason that world is cut off to us in the physical, right? Like obviously divination and things like that in spirituality, you have a connection, and that's why religion exists and spirituality exists and divination exists, is because that need to feel a connection to a world that we are not connected to. So I do believe there is a connection there, but just because there is a connection does not mean that the laws of physical reality are the same as the laws of spirituality, and the laws of spirituality apply to laws of the physical reality. So there are no rules in quantum. There are no laws in quantum physics that prove that spirituality exists or the 5D exists. That just is not true. People are lying to you. It's not true, because the laws of the physical world are dictated by the physical world. Okay, and so that does not go on to say that you cannot have belief and you cannot have had experiences that, for yourself that prove that, the 5D exists and spirituality exists. I live in that every day. I believe in spirituality, but there are these pseudoscientists on YouTube who want you to believe that they have some proof or knowledge of the physical world that proves that the 5D exists. Honey, if that were true, that would have happened a long time ago. Religious people a long time ago would have. There are people who are religious. The Catholic Church is one of the most powerful organizations that has ever existed on this planet. If that were true, we would have all the proof in the world. If the Catholic Church cannot prove it, a random person who shows up on your feed on YouTube does not have the proof. Okay? And I'm sorry to burst that bubble for you, but that is just not true, because the laws that dictate the 3D are not the same laws that dictate the 5D. All right? And if you have a true, genuine belief in a spirituality, then you know that because the 5D is what we aim to be. So how could the 5D be a direct reflection of the 3D? That doesn't make sense. Why would you want to leave this plane of existence, this world, to go to a higher plane that is identical to what we experience here? That doesn't make any sense. So no, quantum physics does not prove spirituality exists. There's no such thing as far as the physical that proves law of attraction or anything, manifestation or anything like that. Now, if you want to believe that and you want to put your energy towards that, I'm not here to stop you, but we're not going to use the 3D to prove that exists, because that's just not true. It doesn't exist. I'm not saying it's not true, but I'm saying the proof does not exist. And all of the people that's telling you that it does have never studied quantum physics. They don't know the basics of the mathematics that goes into these basic science that they throw in your face. And if you listen to a scientist who have studied for years and years and years, top of years, that know the math, they will all collectively agree that either we don't know, we don't have the information, or it's just not a correlation to the information that we do have. Okay. There's just not. So that's a debate between causation and correlation. It's just, there's a gap there, and people who are into pseudoscience want to use that gap to prove that science proves this happened. That's not, just because there's a gap there does not mean it proves another thing. Okay. So that is my little tangent, because I always go on a tangent to try to help you understand the difference between spirituality, the 5D, and the 3D. There is a difference. There is a disconnect, and there is a reason there's a disconnect. And so going back to what I'm telling you, when you meet this person or you have met this person and you notice red flags about this person, understand that it is not your job, because you cannot. I'm saying this, and I have never been more clear, and I have never been more sure about anything in my life. You cannot. And I know some people are going to push back on it, and I feel some of the ire, because you want so bad, because the nurturing, unhealed feminine in you is telling you that you can. But once you get more into understanding yourself, your energies, healing yourself, and what the feminine is, you understand that it's not her job to nurture past a certain point in anyone's life. You're supposed to cut that tie, let that person go out into the world and fend for themselves. And again, that's going back into nature and how animals, the animal kingdom knows that. Mothers and the animal, they know that. They don't nurture their children for their whole lives. They just don't, because it's impossible. It's impossible, because that is the beast of the 3D. It's just the reason why the 3D is different from the 5D. And the 5D you can nurture forever, because that's what the feminine energy is. That's her purpose in life. But when she gets reincarnated into this 3D, she had to understand that the rules on the physical plane are different from 5D. And sometimes that knowledge gets lost. I don't know why. I'm not here to tell you why, because I don't know. I'm not here to pretend like I know why. The knowledge from the 5D to 3D gets lost, and that feminine energy becomes distorted, and she doesn't understand that she's not on the 5D anymore. She's in the physical body on the 3D, and she cannot nurture a thing, a person, a being for forever, because they have to fend for themselves on the 3D, where you don't on the 5D. You don't. On the 3D you do. Physical plane you do. And so when that feminine energy gets reincarnated, she doesn't understand there is a cutoff point. And so I'm telling you, you cannot help this person understand what it means. You could be a lesson for this person, a karmic lesson, and that's what you're shaping yourself up to be, just a karmic lesson for this person, and it will help them, but it will hurt you in the long run, but it will teach you lessons about where your boundaries are when it comes to people, and it comes to love, and it comes to your emotionality. So maybe that's your lesson, but this is definitely a karmic lesson if you engage in it. Now, it doesn't have to be a karmic lesson. It doesn't have to be. I think this idea that you have to engage in karmic lessons, that's not true. You do not. If you have already learned the lesson, you do not have to engage another person in their karmic lesson. They will find another avenue to learn that lesson. It does not have to be you if you've already learned it. Now, if you engage with this person, then it will become a karmic lesson for you. You will go through the pain and the hurt of understanding that it is not your job to nurture this person, because you physically cannot nurture this person into their own understanding and healing. They have to do it themselves. Okay, so that is what I'm picking up for the love portion. I'm gonna do it real quick, and I'm almost tempted to not do it because this has run super long. But I'm just gonna pull a couple of cards here, a couple of cards for the finance, because this will be the first reading in quite some time that I was able to do all three in one reading. Something always tends to go over. So, okay. So real quick, I'm going to give you, your finances are looking really good. So the world card is here. You have the music of voices and the music of inspiration. So even if you, oh yeah, you got a lot of cards of potential here. A lot of cards of potential. So I don't see anything that's solid. Okay, so yeah, I said I don't see anything that's solid, and then I kept pulling some more cards, and I got the Ace of Pentacles, so that's solid, but it's still potential. So you have a lot of cards here of potential. So what I would say for you is that keep going like how you're going in your finances right now. So I don't, whether that is a job, that is career, that's pursuing a degree, or pursuing a sorry, my mind just went blank. Pursuing a degree, or pursuing a, what is it called? Not a degree, a trade. I'm sorry, a trade, a degree, the job that you're currently in, job that you're pursuing, a career that you're pursuing, a career that you're in, how you're managing your finances right now. So whatever the thing is that you're doing right now that has to do with your that's directly tied to your finances, right? So when I do finances, like career, and it's like physical money, is money that you save, money that you have in the bank, money that you have coming in. It's anything that's tied to your physical material world, right? It covers all of it. So whatever you're doing right now that has to do with your physical material world, you are going on the right path. Do not stray off that path. It is going to lead to your accomplishment, whatever that accomplishment is that you are looking for financially. This is the path that's going to lead to it. It is different for different people. I don't know what it is, but it is the beginning stages of that financial accomplishment that you want in your life that is going to come to fruition, and this is the path that's going to lead you there. All right, so that is all I have for my watchers. I want to say again, thank you for everyone who tunes into my readings, the positive energy, and I want to say don't forget to like, subscribe, come back, hit the bell so you know when I post new videos, and don't forget to share, and I will see you next time. Bye.